When standing in a massive protest, the first thing you feel is the kinetic energy of thousands of people moving as a coordinated unit. With the Capitol Dome as a backdrop, this specific mobilization was initially triggered by a sharp escalation in military tensions and the immediate threat of war with Iran. But the people in this crowd aren't just career activists. They are ordinary citizens who have concluded the standard guardrails of government are no longer functioning. When traditional institutions stop providing accountability, people use their physical presence to fill that vacuum, turning the street itself into a forum for the grievances they feel are being ignored. The frustration driving this assembly is fueled by two distinct, highly localized anxieties, starting with the perceived threat of domestic enforcement destabilizing their own neighborhoods. The protesters are vocal about their rejection of immigration enforcement within their borders, viewing agencies like ICE as a primary tool of state intimidation. Parallel to the fear of the state is a widespread sense of betrayal regarding the populist economic promises that many in the crowd say have been broken. For many, the reality of political failure is found at the grocery store. Despite promises of lower prices, working-class families find themselves shelling out more of their income for basic necessities. This economic strain leads to a pervasive dread of job loss, where every daily purchase becomes a calculation of whether or not there will be enough left to feed their children. This convergence of physical threat and economic betrayal convinces many that their current participation in the system is insufficient, driving them into the streets to demand the security they can't find in the law. The No Kings banner serves as a rally cry against the concept of a presidency that operates with meaningful checks. For this crowd, Donald Trump is the focal point of that anger, representing what they see as a shift toward authoritarian executive power. But the grievance goes deeper than one person. The protesters argue that this overreach is only possible because of the perceived collusion and complicity of Congress. From the perspective of those in the street, the administration's enablers aren't acting loyalty, but out of what they call a diabolical fear of losing their own jobs and influence. This view characterizes the government not as a representative body, but as an entrenched regime acting primarily to preserve its own power and self-interest. To combat the most powerful office in the world, the marchers utilize a two-pronged strategy, starting with what they describe as the shield of community. Physical resilience is the first tool. Standing together in freezing, hostile conditions is visual proof they will not be dispersed. Their second tactic is more psychological, a strategy they've labeled the mock and awe tour. Authoritarianism relies on the projection of absolute gravity and the installation of fear. By meeting that power with irreverent mockery, protesters attempt to strip it of its psychological leverage. You see it in signs like this one. By using an absurd, comical twist on a notorious hate slogan, the protesters try to undermine serious or hateful rhetoric by making it look ridiculous. This combination of physical presence and psychological ridicule is designed to show that while the protesters cannot be broken, the regime is not invincible. Looking past the immediate noise, the No Kings March serves as a historical marker for a system under extreme pressure. This is a democratic stress test. In a healthy system, the legislative branch balances the executive. When connections fail, tension reaches a critical point. This transfers the entire weight of accountability onto the public, forcing citizens to become the primary check on power themselves. When leaders lie to a vulnerable base about their economic survival, the sense of mutual trust that holds the system together begins to dissolve. The march suggests that the health of these institutions depends on whether the public is willing to physically show up and intervene when they see the system failing to protect them. The No Kings movement asserts that the visible and sometimes mocking defense of the vulnerable is a necessary response to the illusion of absolute power.